Well, hello and welcome to my latest video. And it's not been nice weather outside. It's pouring with rain. Just been for a drive for a few hours and the roads were flooded. Good Lord. We're going along the M25, which is a motorway in southern England, and there were a few arcs went by. Yes, Noah at the cab driving his ark with a lot of animals in the back. So it just goes to show, don't know how long this rain is going to last for, not for too long. First thing I want to say before I start this video is a few people have commented that I've been talking rather fast on some of my recent videos. So I've decided to slow down a little bit. And I wasn't able to do that naturally, but I managed to find a couple of antidepressants in the cupboard, so I took those. So hopefully I'll slow down. If I start to sort of drift off or fade away, then if you kind of knock the screen to wake me up, then I'll try and liven up a bit. So what are we doing on today's video? Well, many of you will be aficionados and great users of Strava, which is a wonderful program that allows you to log your rides and achieve KOMs, King of the Mountains, and compare your times against other people in your group or with other people around the world. Wonderful data. And people all over the world care about what you're doing and they want to see what you're doing on Strava. Well, one of the things about Strava, if you're not familiar with this, I suggest you join up, is that it gives you challenges that you're allowed to join on a monthly basis. For example, it gives you a kind of test in terms of the number of miles or the number of feet or meters of elevation that you do in a month. And when you meet these challenges, they award you some kind of badge, sometimes a bit of kit, sometimes a virtual badge, sometimes a real badge, sometimes real kit, sometimes virtual kit. But they're presents anyway, they're points. And what do points mean? Points mean prizes, boys and girls. Yes, they do. So I've been having a look, I've been digging around in the deeper recesses of Strava, having been on it for quite some time. And I've found a number of challenges which some of you may not be aware of. So I thought I'd go through with them for you today. And I've written them down. I thought I'd try and do that. Do you remember that Bob Dylan song, Subterranean Homesick Blues, which came out in about 1964, 1965, and he was standing by a tenement in New York in the rain, and he had a series of cards like that, and he took one of these cards, and on the cards were the lyrics to the song, and he moved them off to the side like that. So I thought I'd try and do that. I'm not sure, actually. You see, when I look at my screen, not into my lens, but when I look at my screen, which is to the side of my lens, I see these backwards, but I think you see them frontwards. So I've written them backwards on the piece of paper, but it means that when you look at the screen from your side, you get to see them the right way up. So the first one of these challenges is called All Local Roads. Yes, and it's quite an easy challenge. Within 1 kilometre of where you live will be a number of local roads. Depending on where you live, you might live in a busy part of town, there might be 10 or 20 local roads. On the other hand, you might live out in the countryside, out in the sticks, there might only be one local road. Anyway, the simple challenge is, for next month, you ride all of your local roads, the full distance to within 1 kilometre of your base where you live, and you log that on Strava, and you'll get a little map, little virtual map that you can pin onto your cycle shirt, or you can stick it on your satchel or your briefcase if you're still going to school or university, and everybody can see that you've achieved that particular Strava challenge. So let me do the old Bob Dylan thing there, and we'll pull that off, and there we are, and we're on to the next one, and this is called 11th month 11. Yes, the 11th month, as you all know, is November. Noce in Italian, meaning 11, and 11th month 11 simply means that in the month of November you ride 11 miles, no more, and no less, exactly 11 miles. And if you record your exact 11 miles on Strava, you'll get a virtual number 11. You know the number 11, it's like 2 ones side by side, and you'll get that as a virtual badge, and you can pin that on your cycle shirt or stick it to your satchel if you're still at school. Now, it's very important, you can't do 1 foot or 1 meter over the 11 miles or 1 foot or 1 meter below the 11 miles. It must be exactly 11 miles to get the 11th month 11. So that's a very challenging badge to achieve. Next one is called 1,000 meters descent. Yes, quite often on Strava, in the climbing challenges, it's about how many miles, not how many miles, but how many feet or meters you've climbed in that month in order to get the badge. Well, this is slightly different to that. This is 1,000 meters descent. Now, you cannot do any climbing in the month in order to get this badge. You can only descent. So you have to get up somewhere. You might get a cable car, or perhaps catch a train, or other means of transport are available. Noah's Ark, perhaps, if you're going towards Mount Ararat. So you go up and then you descend 1,000 meters. So you can't do more than 1,000 meters, can't do less than 1,000 meters, but you do that 1,000 meters descent, recorded on Strava, and you'll get another one of these virtual badges. Now we're moving on fairly quickly now, although I'm trying to talk fairly slowly as I feel the antidepressants kick in. And this is Hail Caesar. This is nothing to do with Julius Caesar, the famous Italian pop star. This is about riding in hail. Yes, you know what hail is. It's a bit like, what is it? It's sort of like frozen ice. So it's not exactly snow and it's not exactly rain. It's very cold rain, but it's snow that's in kind of bits of ice, and it falls down. And what you have to do, and you're going to have to keep a very close eye on the weather forecast. When the hail is forecast, you get your kit on, get out on your bike and ride in that hail, and make sure you take a picture, put it up with your ride on Strava, and you'll get the Hail Caesar badge. And what you'll get is, if you know your history, you'll know that Julius Caesar was a famous pop star, stabbed to death by some of his adoring public, including one of them called Brutus. And so you'll get a virtual, a little model of Julius Caesar with some knives in his back, one of them held by Brutus, and that will be the Hail Caesar badge. That's one worth having. I got it last year, and I've got it around the garage somewhere. Actually, if you keep a lookout as I make this video, you may spot it. Right, the next one. This one is very close to my heart. This is called Tubeless 222. If you ride tubeless, you will inevitably get punctures. So this particular Strava challenge is to see if you can manage to ride 222 miles on your tubeless tyre without getting a puncture. Now, I must say to you, this is the toughest, absolutely the toughest challenge that Strava has ever introduced. They tried it a couple of years ago. Nobody achieved it. Nobody achieved it. They all got punctures. Some people got 10. Some people even got 222 punctures in their 222 mile ride. So if you can manage to log 222 miles on Strava without getting a puncture, you can get a virtual tubeless tyre badge. Full size, so you can put it on your satchel, your briefcase, if you've got a big satchel, big briefcase, or you can stick it on your cycle jersey. It'll take up quite a lot of space, but because it's so rare, I'm pretty sure you're not going to win it. So good luck, boys and girls. Now this particular challenge is called T220 Party, and this reminds us of the Boston Tea Party back in whenever it was, about 1967, I think it was. A lot of people in Boston decided to have a big party, and they drank a lot of tea, but they had some British visitors over and didn't think they'd made the tea in the right way, because they put the milk in after they put the tea in. And as we all know, at least if we're English, you put the milk in before you put the tea in the cup. Anyway, rambling on a bit, the T220 Party is just about riding 220 miles during the month of November, and you've got to have tea in your water bottle, or your bidon, as we call it, bidon. It's a French word meaning water bottle, bidon. So don't put water into your bidon, put tea into your bidon, and then record those 220 miles on Strava with tea in your bidon, and you can get a virtual bidon badge again, which you can pin onto your t-shirt. This next challenge is for all those new riders who've taken up gravel riding. Yes, and if you live in southern England, you won't be able to get this because, as you know, there is no gravel. But the gravel grovel simply means that you find some gravel. And if you can find some gravel, then you're a better man than I am, Gungadin, and record your ride on Strava on the gravel, and you'll get, now you won't get a virtual prize, you'll get a real prize. You'll get a little handful of gravel through the post. And if you take that gravel and you spread it in your backyard or in your garden, then you can create your own gravel routes very close to where you live, and then you'll be able to be a gravel rider. You may not have a gravel bike, but you'll have the gravel to ride on. So very, very nice badge to have, that one. The next one, we're getting near the end, so the old antidepressants are kicking in a little bit. This is called What's a Matter? What's a Matter? And the reason for this is what's matter on the bike. And all you have to do to get this badge is to record the watts. You can use a power meter or you can just make it up. But when you do your ride on Strava for November, actually no, this isn't November, this is December. Yeah, sorry, my mistake, December. When you record your rides on Strava, make sure you include the amount of watts that you put out. You can make it up, that's all right, most people do, but whatever you do, just make sure you record those watts on Strava, and then you can get that special virtual watts badge, and the badge will show 310 watts, right? So you'll be able to show everybody that you're able to put out 310 watts. It's quite a good number. It's not up there with the pros, but it's not a bad number. It's close to what I can achieve on a good day. So 310 watts, you get the 310 What's a Matter badge. Very good badge to have. Moving on swiftly, and we come to the Flapjack 50. What is the Flapjack 50? Well, I think you can work this out. If you ride 50 miles in January 2021, this is, you ride 50 miles in the Flapjack 50 challenge, I'll send you, well, not I won't send you, but one of the companies that make flapjacks, you know, those very dry kind of energy bars made of oats and gravel and quite a lot of sugar that stick to the roof of your mouth, that are supposed to help you when you're riding for long distances but actually don't make the slightest bit of difference. You'll get one of those through the post, but you have to do the 50 miles in January, no more. So some of these challenges you may have to be careful because you don't want to mix up your challenges, so you have to think carefully about which challenge and which virtual badge or which real prize you want to achieve. So that's the Flapjack 50. Ben Nevising. Now, you would have heard of Everesting. Everesting is where you climb the height of Mount Everest, which is 29,000 feet, something over 8,000 meters, something like that, or 8,500 meters, not sure the precise amount. But that's not for everyone. It takes a long time, it's quite tiring, you have to get through a lot of flapjacks, your family get bored watching you, you're forced to make a video of it, put it on YouTube, you might have to raise money for charity, you just bore the hell out of everybody because you've done this poxy Everesting. And if you've done it during lockdown, God save us. So Ben Nevising is something that allows all of us to join in this challenge, but it's a rather more interesting challenge. Ben Nevis, as you may know, is a famous explorer, and he discovered the highest mountain in the British Isles, United Kingdom. It's actually in Scotland, which is still currently part of the United Kingdom. And the height of it, I need to look this up because I don't have this to hand. I have it on a separate piece of paper here. It is 1,345 meters or 4,413 feet. So you do a climb and you record that particular amount of elevation, no more, no less, on that single ride. Has to be a single ride, doesn't have to be on the same day, but it has to be a single ride. And then you get a little model of Ben Nevis. It's not a big model, it's a bit like a Playmobil model you may have had as a child. He's got crampons, he's got big boots, he's got a kind of rucksack and little pickaxe and some rope and so on. A vaguely Scottish expression. And when you pull a little string in his back, he'll say, "Congratulations on the Ben Nevising." He'll say it in a Scottish accent. I can't do the Scottish accent, so I won't even attempt that. But the Ben Nevising allows us all to join in at boring as shit Everesting, but without spending all our lives doing it. And the final one we have is the Turbo Tool. Like many people, many keen cyclists, the one thing you don't enjoy doing, and in fact you have no intention of doing, and that's going out in the bad weather. So if it's a little bit cold, boys and girls, or a little bit rainy, or a little bit snowy, hail is fine because you want to get the Hail Caesar badge, don't forget that one, but you've bought yourself a turbo, yes, and you've got a kicker or an elite or one of those other stages. You've even bought a proper turbo bike so you can go on Zwift and you can bore the hell out of everybody about how many races you've entered on Zwift and whether you're doing the Zwift Academy and all the workouts that you're doing and how you're boosting your FTP, and one of these days you're going to get 320 as your FTP. Yes, well, you'll want the Turbo Tool Strava badge, and all you have to do to achieve it, it's very easy, is you don't ride outside at all ever anymore. Okay, you just record your Zwift rides on Strava on your turbo. You get rid of all your outside bikes, you get rid of all your outside kit because you don't need it anymore. You're an inside rider, you're a Zwifter, you're a Turbo Tool, and as a Turbo Tool you'll get the virtual, because it's in the virtual world, you'll get a virtual Turbo Tool badge, and it's a little tool like that. You don't have to do any work on your bicycle because you don't take it outside anymore. You don't have to fix punctures. You don't get punctures when you're riding the turbo. It's a little tool that you can stick on your cycle jersey before you throw it away, and you'll be the Turbo Tool and the envy of all your friends. So all those Strava challenges, they're coming to Strava with the latest update. Make sure you update your iPhone or your Android if you're poor enough to have an Android phone, and then you can get all of those badges once you achieve and once you succeed in all of those challenges. So good luck, happy riding, and hope to see you next time.